Hello and welcome to Performance Check. My name is Rob, and I have been attempting to stream live to conduct an experiment to do a test. For those of you that watch some of my games, usually live, you'll have noticed this. When I run online, I use OBS, which is the thing that gives me this around my video capture window. And it's been overheating my laptop, and for ages I've been convinced that it was Chrome that was doing this, when in actual fact I'm pretty certain it was OBS. And for some reason it overheats my laptop, so I have done many different things to hopefully help my my laptop system out. Now, it's only a year old, or just over a year old. It's still like a fairly decent laptop, and it's got like good video. Wait, what's the name of it? Video card? That doesn't sound right. Anyway, it's graphically very capable. It can run games very well, and the reason I got it was because for my video editing stuff, projects that I was doing back when I got it, at least, it requires quite a lot of graphical power behind it. So it's an all right laptop. It's still a year old though, and lately it has been suffering when I've been running games. And I think it's because of OBS, and I'm not really sure why. So what I'm doing is I'm starting this stream with OBS live, so I can basically wait and see if it happens again. I have put my laptop on an elevated position. It's on like this box, so the fan itself has quite a lot of breathing room. What happened is there's like a massive amount of heat that was coming from the right side of my laptop where the fan is. So that's helped. I also got this thing that I will recommend, and I'm sure this isn't new information to a lot of people, but I use AVG, which is like this like virus protection software thing, right, for my laptop. But in addition to it, it also comes with this thing that I didn't realize. It's like a maintenance thing, right? And you can run scans with it, so it isn't looking for viruses, it's looking for inefficiencies in your setup. So I've done that, and wow. Since I did that, my laptop has been activating much quicker. It's opening programs quicker. It just seems like it's back to its old self. So obviously there was a lot of clutter on my laptop. I'm not the most organized individual, so like there'll be loads of video files from like videos that I've made that I don't need anymore because they're on YouTube now, like just clogging up my memory and stuff. So I fixed all of that, raised the laptop's position like I said. I've changed some power management settings as well on my laptop. So hopefully it will work. If it doesn't, then I won't be able to use OBS with my games anymore, which is a shame. But it's got to be done. The quality of the game is in the playing of it, not the how your screen looks and how much of a risk it is to run. How perhaps it will knock you offline. It's the ultimate immersion breaker, isn't it? When you're dragged out of a game because of your technology is playing up, which is something you obviously don't get with an in-person game, which I still think, you can say whatever you like about online, but at least live play doesn't crash on you. Well, it can, maybe if you're playing with someone who has diabetes or I don't know why I said that. So I'm just going to hang out, and I don't expect people to really join me, but it's essentially, yeah, it's been high time since I should have done this, to be fair. Right. Oh, I have some people in the chat watching. Hello. This is the other thing I wanted to say. Like, because I'm going to be here, usually the freeze happens in like an hour, like almost an hour in. So I'm basically just waiting for that to happen. And if it doesn't, then hooray, that's great. Um, but yeah. Um, but whilst I'm here, I thought instead of recording this privately and just me sat there doing nothing, I could make use of that time and I can talk to some people if they drop by. But I mean, it's not like I haven't got anything planned. I'm just here to hang out. And if you want to hang out with me, that's cool. But I don't blame you if you don't want to, because I'm literally just going to be talking and waiting. I've got a dungeon crash in the chat. Hey, says graphics card. Yes, graphics card. Thank you. I knew it was wrong. I was like, not video card, graphics card. Thank you very much. Mum's alert. Taylor says, safe to assume this is to head off the jinx of law keepers later. It's basically just checking that all of the changes that I've made to the laptop help me in some way. Dungeon Crash then says, have you stripped the back off to dust it? I began doing this, Dungeon Crash. I have like a set of, where have they gone? Of mini screwdrivers, right? Which perfect, because my screws on the bottom of this thing are like really small. But thankfully I had the right screwdriver for it. But for some reason, when I got to like the screws on the very back, and that's where the laptop joint meets the flat bottom of the system, for some reason the screwdriver just wasn't getting a grip anymore. Like I think it had worn down, so I wasn't able to do it. And I realized what I was doing was I was just basically stripping away the grooves on the screw in the bottom. So I thought, I've got to stop. If I keep doing this, then I'm never going to be able to open my laptop ever. So I'll wait till I have a better screwdriver. So what I did instead was, first of all, I turned my laptop off, I lifted it to my mouth and just went and just like blasted air in with my mouth into the fan, and like a load of dust came out and just went straight in my face, like which sucked, but it got some dust out. And then what I did, I looked on YouTube and I was like, I typed in, how would you clean a laptop of dust without opening it? I'll show you this, actually. I'll show you my makeshift tool. It's I was very impressed. So I've had this Burger King straw in my bag. Whenever I see straws, I always take one, which is bad because they're now, I don't know if it's the same in the US or whatever, but in the UK, they're actually outlawing plastic straws. So this is going to be a commodity that is hard to come by. No, it's good because it helps the environment. But anyway, like the dude on the YouTube video was like, get a straw, put a sellotape over the end, apart from like a little bit here, right? And then what you do is you can then put that little bit into the exhaust like that, and then you can direct a pinpoint of your air like that. So it's basically like a cheap version of getting like a compressed air thing, which obviously is very cheap anyway, but I've not been able to get out to the stores today, which is a shame because I would have liked to have done that. But so that's what I've been doing in the meantime. Dungeon Crash says, use a rubber band on the tip. Oh, of a screwdriver. Do you reckon that'll work? That's genius. Do I have a rubber band? That's the next question. Do I have a rubber band? I must have a rubber band somewhere. I say looking around my room, just expecting to see one. Thanks, Dungeon Crash. I will give that a go. Because I genuinely did try and open it, and I was like, oh my god, if I open this up and then for some reason I can't close it or I fuck it up, then I will like end up destroying my laptop, which I obviously don't want to do. But that's it. So anyway, go have a sip of tea. Taylor quite rightly said it's Law Keepers tonight, which I'm very excited for, because we kind of had a bit of a tease of us about to play Law Keepers and I had to stop because of the technical issues. And admittedly, we were on like a very limited time frame as well. So we thought better to nip it in the bud and do it another time than rush it. So I'm very much looking forward to this session. face the storm. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it because I want people to go watch it. But obviously, I've had this one planned, and it's very weird when you've had something planned and then you don't do it because then you think about it more. Oh, so I've actually gone back and looked at my notes, and I actually looked at it and thought, perhaps this would be better. And I changed one thing. I'm altering the timeline, or rather, the future that was once to be has altered slightly. Not anything that would affect like player decisions, but just something that just a way of presenting, shall we say. I think very carefully about how I present information in my games, or at least I try to. So that's interesting. Taylor says talk about it. No, you're playing in the game. This is not how it works. You will have to learn when you play the game, because otherwise you won't need to play the game, will you? And I want you to play the game. Play the game. Everybody play the game. Queen. This is going to be a really long hour. Like, I can see this. What do you guys want to talk about? Tell me what you want to talk about. We'll talk about it. It doesn't have to be role-playing games, but we can talk about role-playing games. If you have any thoughts, feelings, questions, tips on laptop maintenance, by all means. Dungeon Crash has already set me up with a wonderful tip, which I'm definitely going to investigate. Rubber band on the tip. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Why has no one ever told me that? How have I got to this stage in life and I didn't know that? My goodness me. Let's see. What can I tell you about? I can't really tell you anything. I don't really want to tell you about anything in the session because, I mean, it's not going to... I can tell you what they're up against because they kind of know what they have to do. So, okay, that's a good idea. I can do a catch-up thing. So, where they are at the moment, they've reached Spellstead, which is the Rogue Arcane cell headquarters. The cell in Farwide, anyway. And I found last session, the thing that I really, really liked about it, and I didn't, what I do is I leave it a little bit and then I listen back to the session when I'm taking making notes for my next game, which I did like a couple of weeks ago. But one of the things that I kind of realized was happening in that game that I guess I was aware of it, but like obviously you're running a game, like you can't really stop to think about these things. But it's interesting when you are dealing with NPCs that aren't villains. They're actually good guys, but they have like a different kind of way of thinking, I suppose. And I found it interesting because the Rogue Arcane and the Lawkeepers are both fighting for the same thing, but they just have different ways of going about it, I suppose, and different mentalities about the situation. And the fact was that the Lawkeepers, the player characters, weren't willing to impart their knowledge of Equinox and what's going on with him, what exactly he is. They're like, no, we're Lawkeepers. We keep that to ourselves. We're not going to start telling you the secrets of our power. Which I thought was rad. I was like, that's really cool. They've actually properly become Lawkeepers now. And yeah, that was just rad. I just really liked that they were like, no. And I thought that's really cool. But when thinking about it afterwards, I was like, oh man, like the Rogue Arcane are like, they know more about the enemy than we do. Why the fuck aren't they telling us? We're trying to work together. Why aren't they telling us? Like, it would be really, really helpful if you would share that information, and they stubbornly held on to it. But I like that they did that. Like, I genuinely like that they did that. So I like the fact that you have NPCs that are allies, but are still, you're not working against them, but like there are, differences in methods. Why don't you guys in the chat give me some examples of if you've ever done that in one of your games before? People working towards the same thing, but accomplishing it by different means. Talk about it. Do a recap of all of Lawkeepers. No. Start at session 1. Are you kidding me, Taylor? Well, I suppose I've got an hour. But I don't think people would want to listen to that, to be honest. If you want me to, I will. I will, because I think I could. I might be able to do it. I'll recap all of it if people want to hear that, but I'm not going to like drone on and on and on about just one game. Obviously, it's not just one game; it's 14 sessions, but the same topic for like that a length of time. I don't think I recognize Dungeon Crash. I don't know if I've seen you in the chat before, Dungeon Crash. It's a good name, though. Very good name, Dungeon Crash. Like, I wonder how long the stream's been going. Not that I'm clock watching, but like I'm just it's like waiting for Goddo, which is a wonderful play if you haven't heard of it before. I'm gonna bring up the stream to see how long I've been streaming. About 15 minutes, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, at least it's still going. That's something, I suppose. Taylor said something. What did Taylor say? I've not run enough games to have multiple allies and such working toward a goal. Okay. Oh, so they haven't had time to accumulate allies like that. Well, you're going to be running more games, aren't you, Taylor? I'm very excited to see what goes on with the second world setting you've been talking about. Not that I got an invite to the game or anything. It's it's not like I run 3 games for you. It's like I'm not offended. It's like waiting for a hiccup. It is like waiting for a hiccup. It's like yeah, it is exactly like that. Hiccups are the worst. They are the worst by far. Okay, I don't know really what to talk about. I really don't know what to talk about. I should have come on with a plan, but to be honest with you, like, this is all very last minute. What can I talk about? What can I talk about? Taylor says, "Oh, for Pete's sake," makes a lot of different signs, and then says, "I will run a game in Second World. I'll run you a game in Second World. Better. You had better, because otherwise I'll be even more offended." What can I tell you about? There must be something I can tell you about. I've been thinking a lot about the other setting that I sort of mentioned like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, The Last Dimension. I'm very excited about that. I look forward to running those games, I think. But it's another it's another game. It's another game. I don't know if I have too many games to deal with, but they all seem to happen at the same time. Pardon me. There seems to be like an on week and an off week for role-playing games with my schedule, because rather it starts at the end of one week, so it'll start with a vampire session invariably, I think, towards the end of the week, and then the on week will happen and I will have Against the Shadow, then Saga, and if it's not that, then it's Jade Horde, and then in amongst that there's the monthly games like Lawkeepers. I held off on scheduling running Star Wars for a little while because like I was like, wow, there's an awful lot of stuff going on. Um, I'm not a very organized person, so it's very difficult for me to stay on top of. But I think it's sort of at a level that I'm like just about fine with at maintaining. But if I add any more games, then it's going to start getting a bit silly. But I have some one shots that I want to run as well. Like, and I'll talk about the one shots I want to run. Okay, so I want to run. I've had an Iscloth game in my mind for ages and ages, and I have the title for it, and I did post interest, but then other stuff happened and I got distracted, so I didn't like go any further than the interest post, and that was probably for my own good. But when I do have time, I will be running an Iscloth one shot. It's going to be called the Hall of Gununga Gap. Gununga Gap is the void outside of the 9 realms. I think it's 9. Yeah, the 9 realms on a tree. And I'm really excited about that because not only is it going to be my first Iscloth game, but I've decided to go kind of like horror with it. There will be travelers that are essentially asked by a weak and deformed Jarl, essentially, who is like rumored to be insane. He has been told by his named sisters, of which there are many, and of which he indulges in incestuous relationships with. He's been told by his sisters that his destiny is to go and claim the Hall of Gununga Gap, which is an old ruin, essentially, of a place where Cedar used to go to learn secrets that must never be known and knowledge that must never be spoken about the nature of something to do with the Gununga Gap, of what I will not go into. But essentially, it's going to be the Jarl. I haven't decided if he's a Jarl or a Carl. It's probably a Carl, actually, because I don't want to step on the toes of the setting. That's something as well, because running someone else's setting is something new for me. I don't think I've ever run. Obviously, I've run things like Faerun, Dark Sun, and things like that, but like I've never run Iscloth, I've never run Dragongrin or Aeronoth or anything that isn't mine. And I suppose it's because I like having that freedom where I'm like, what I say kind of goes, so I won't trip over anything. But if I'm like, oh, there's this Jarl in Iscloth who owns this territory in the Alt Block, okay, then I'll be constantly thinking, yeah, but is he actually there? Because Lloyd might have other ideas about that. So it's an interesting one, like how much liberty can you take when out with someone else's setting before it ceases to become their setting? Lionel is here. Lionel. Lionel had some excellent moments in well, everyone did, but Lionel had some excellent moments in Vampire that we ran the last session. I always kick myself, Lionel. I'm like, how is it that we didn't play in a game before? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm always very, very, very impressed with Lionel. Who was the other dude I said that about as well recently? Jeremy Lilly. I'd never played in a game with Jeremy Lilly, and dude has got some serious like role-playing chops. Like, not that I doubted that, but like I just hadn't been in a game with him to witness it firsthand or whatever. But really good player. Yeah. It just goes to show, isn't it? Like, you never know like who's going to be friggin' rad at games. Taylor says he's currently talking about one shot he wants to run. This one is a creepy Iscloft idea. Yes, it is. Thanks, Taylor, for catching them up. It is a creepy Iscloft idea. It should be really fun. Like, I was for a long time and have been very nervous about running someone else's setting because of the reasons I mentioned before about not wanting to step on toes or whatever. But I'm kind of over that now, and I'm kind of like, look, I mean, end of the day, like it's going to be a one shot. It's not like it's going to be like a, not. I don't know how to describe it. It's just fun. It's just weird because I'll be like, if say Lloyd watches that game or is in that game, I'll be like, that isn't right. Do you know what I mean? And I know he wouldn't be a dick about it, but like, I'd expect people to be like, that isn't Iscloft if you do that. Because then what's the point of running it if you're not going to get it right? Taylor says, "Oh, Rob, run a second world game. Loads of stuff is flexible." Well, tell me more about it, please. I suppose I could read the 30-day world stuff that you've been doing. It's just that I've been really busy. I will read it. I'll do a search for it. So it's, you can search it on Facebook where you can just type in the search words and everything with that will come up. I'll do that. I've been putting them in really easy, like reading's difficult, but I've been making films. That's another thing I've been enjoying, actually. I've enjoyed like making videos again. That kind of stopped because I started going live and it became much easier. I didn't have to edit stuff. I could just go live like this and just talk. Yeah. So that's when that's when editing my stuff basically went out the window, which is a shame because I go back and I look at some of my videos that I did when I used to start, and I'm really proud of them. Like, I like how they're edited. I like that they're pacey. I get to the point. Like, it basically, the beauty of editing is that I can cut out most of the bullshit that spills out of my mouth. Like, in terms of like rambling, like I'll ramble and I'll eventually get to the point, but with editing, I can sort of make it choppy and entertaining and, a bit better to watch. So I am meaning to make some more videos. I am going to be making a video about leveling up and role-playing it. Role-playing leveling up, essentially. Because I've had like a load of ideas for it. And I thought, oh, I could do a live stream about this. I thought, no, stop. Every time that you have an idea like this, you go on live stream and then you talk about it and then it's done. If you make a video of it, you can take your time with it and actually make something of it, rather than just chatting. And don't get me wrong, I like going live and I like just talking and interacting with people in the community. That is the bonus of the live stream, is that you always have things to talk about because people talk to you, So yeah, anyway, long story short, I am writing a video that I will record at some point about role-playing leveling up. I mean, I'm checking the heat of the laptop now, and it still seems to be around about the same. Do I risk it tonight? That's the tricky thing. Do I risk it? I might. I might risk it. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. I don't want it to interrupt Lawkeepers though. We've been waiting ages to play this session, so if it does, then I'll probably not do it again. I'll have to wait until I find another way to use the overlays, which is a shame. Lionel says risk it. Yeah, man. But remember, like, it happened with Vampire when we played, didn't it? I dropped, and thankfully I managed to get back into the hangout. But in time, but that's the first time I've ever been able to do that. And that's because of all the stuff I did with AVG. I just got rid of a bunch of stuff. So basically it meant that my laptop could boot quicker. So I managed to get back into the hangout quicker. So it didn't end. The broadcast didn't end. I was able to return. Nicolas Jacquet says an external fan. Buy an external fan to help with that. What do you mean, like a normal fan and just put it there? The only problem with that is then you've got like the sound of a fan. And one thing I am very proud of is my mic. Like I've got my snowball, my ice snowball, black ice actually. And it's a really good little mic. Like it served me no end. So that will definitely pick up the noise of a fan. You know what I mean? Do you run it on a cooler? No, I don't have a cooler. Do you mean like a cooling pad? I don't have one of those. Don't really know how to explain what it is, but I have used to have one for my laptop, more like an external cooler. Yes. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Yeah, there are those pads that you can put your laptop on that are basically keep the bottom of it cold. Yeah. I don't have one of those, but as I said at the top of the stream, I have the laptop slightly elevated. I've put it on like this box stand thing, which is pretty stable. Like I can do that and it doesn't move it or anything. I can type it, it doesn't move. But there's space beneath the fan and to the side of it. It has a lot of air. It has like a lot of room to breathe. Like a heat spreader. Oh, okay. I will probably have to invest in one of those then. I wonder if they're expensive. I can't imagine they'd be too expensive. I considered getting like a bag of ice, and I thought that's a really stupid idea because what happens to ice when it gets hot? Moron. But yeah, let's see how long I've been going now. Like I've literally just waiting for the end. The end is nigh. Let's see. Bring up YouTube. Can I find my own live feed again? Oh, I'm a moron. I've got the link here. Idiot. Let's see. Half an hour. I've been going half an hour. God. I really hope I'm not boring you. I really, really hope I'm not boring you. If I am, feel free to leave. If you want us to talk about anything, please say anything. I'll talk about anything to pass the time. If I have knowledge of it. Let's bring up the YouTube chat again. Is there anything you want talking about? Is there anything that you're working on at the moment that you'd like a second opinion on? I can do that. We can make something. It is down to you, the viewer, as you are taking time out of your day to spend with me whilst I wait for my laptop to die. I'm sat with it at the end. Can make something. We can make an encounter. Yeah, tell war stories. I will be deleting this video once I've finished because, like, I know the quality of a performance check videos have dipped at some points, but I'd say this is probably like a new low. I mean, what else can I talk about? Oh, here we go. I'm working on prepping for Arthurian fantasy romance campaign. Any suggestions? Oh, dude, that sounds wonderful. I love the Arthurian style. I describe the setting that I have currently, the Nine Kingdoms, was very much an Arthurian style society before the big changes came and before the God King laid down the foundations of his like Nine Kingdoms. Before that, it was much more sweeping Arthurian fantasy, with many different kingdoms and different regions and like. And I try to have a little bit of that within the dragon kin culture that the lawkeepers came across, um, because they've been removed from that world since before the change. And thus they have retained like their armor is different, you know, the way that they view life is different and stuff. Admittedly, they're dragonkin also, but they're Arthurian dragonkin. That's sort of like their unique selling point, is that they're sort of like Arthurian style knights, but they're also dragon people. But let's talk about yours then. So Arthurian fantasy romance campaign. So something that I find really funny is that the Arthurian tales are very, very prettied up, but they didn't always used to be. They used to be absolutely vile human beings. There was, I can't remember his name. He was called something the Lion Knight, and he would like, he had a lion, like he saved the life of a lion, and the lion used to follow him around, which is pretty badass, like to be called the Lion Knight and you've got like a lion animal companion. That's pretty cool. But there's one story of this dude. I wish I remember his name. But the knight essentially gets brought into. It might be Galahad. It's not Lancelot. It might be. I can't remember. But anyway, he gets invited into this castle. He gets injured in a fight. He fights like they say, like he fights 10 people, right? And he beats them, but he gets injured. So this maiden invites him into the castle to like, so he can rest, and whilst he's recuperating, he can heal and like. So he's like, oh, cool, okay. And the maiden like helps him with his wounds and stuff. And he says, "You've been looking after me after all this time, and I find that I'm having affections for you, maiden. Sir Ivan." Cool. I didn't know that. And the maiden's like, well, that's all very well and good, but I am chosen to be the wife of the lord of this castle. Yvain, that's it. Yvain, the Lion Knight. Yes, Yvain. And Yvain's like, that's really not cool. I don't want you to marry the lord. I want you to marry me. And she's like, I can't. And also, like, we kind of got like a whole thing going. Don't really want to ruin that. So Vane takes up his sword once he's been healed, and he fucking kills the Lord like openly. He just says, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you," and just kills him with the sword or whatever. And everyone freaks the fuck out, and Vane takes over the castle and then marries her, or maybe it's just he lies with her for a night and then he fucks off. I can't remember. Maybe I've got that story entirely wrong. But all I'm trying to say is that Arthurian tales changed. So I suppose my question, Lionel, is: are you going for the more flowery version of the tales and the style, or a bit more gritty, a bit more feudal, you know, a bit more uncivilized? Maybe that's what it could be. That could be a really interesting theme, Lionel. Like you could have some parts of civilization very much like the flowery Arthurian tales, and then another part of society which is a bit more gritty. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's civilized society, and then there's like militaristic, we take what we want society as factions, perhaps. Yeah, let me know what you think about that. Nicolas Jaquette says, pardon me, I need a drink. Got a frog in my throat. Nicolas Jaquette says, I've got this player who's having a difficult time in real life. Okay. In response to that, his character in our new campaign is going evil mode. Any advice if it goes south? I mean, it always sucks when we have friends that go through difficult times, and that's always going to happen. As adults playing D&D, we have real life to deal with. And that's why D&D is so great, or role-playing games are so great, because it gives us escapism. But often, if treated in a different way, it can kind of become escapist fantasy where people get to make decisions in games that they would never make in real life. So if your friend is having a bad time and wanting someone or something to take that anger and frustration out on, then yeah, of course it's going to affect a game negatively if that's where he chooses to do it or she chooses to do it. I don't know, man. Like, it's difficult because you don't want to say, look, I don't want you feeling the way you feel, because that's not what a good friend would do. I think I mean, talking to them is probably the best thing, isn't it? I mean, but maybe they don't, and if they don't want to talk about it, then just say, look, I mean, I appreciate you going through something rough, but let's keep this a more positive experience. If, however, they want to embrace going evil, and that'll be interesting, and you think you'll be able to control them, well, not control them, but like control it, you'll be able to keep the game under your control and not have it become something bad and negative, then maybe explore them going evil. Maybe it's what they need to work through, whatever they're going through, or at least, I don't know. Because it's all very well saying that, oh yeah, you can take out your frustrations. You can take your frustrations out in a game that you run, but that's also at the expense of the fun of other people and the experience of other people. You always have to think of other people, because it's called being a good human being. I'm not saying your friend isn't a good human being, but sometimes people need reminding. Look, end of the day, it's not just you here. I don't know, Nicholas. Do you think you'll be able to harness that and turn that character going a little bit evil into something, or is it just a disruptive influence that you want to see the end of? Uh, Lionel says, "Flowery, me no way," and then yeah, that sounds great. I just think it'd be pretty interesting to see the two styles of Arthurian sort of uh, culture, as it were, or how the culture is portrayed, depending on who's telling the story. Both of them being in existence in the world. Um, is it actually Arthurian, Lionel? Like, are you actually going full on? This is Camelot. you know, is it, or is it just the style? So it's like knights and chivalry and banners and the like. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I want to hear more. Nicholas says, well, oh, please, every time. Stop messaging me, whoever you are. I know who it is. But every time I go on a stream. Nicholas says, well, he's playing a warlock. Last game, he just murdered a priest that was sleeping so he could rob the place. Not sure where it's going. So he's becoming a bit of a murder hobo, essentially. Like, well, if you want to run that kind of game, yeah. I mean, end of the day, players should be free to do as they wish. So, maybe let them do that, but show that there are consequences for their actions. He's murdered a priest, so have someone from that religious order discover who is, if they're able to discover that it was him who killed the priest, have someone from the religious order say, listen, we know what you did. And usually our methods would be to call a crusade upon you, or to have you hunted down and destroyed for your actions. However, we understand that someone of your talents could be put to better use. So turn what he's done into an actual quest where you can then explore something because of those actions rather than it just being mindless and he's just killed someone and then nothing comes of it. Like, use it. Have the religious order or whatever just come in and say, look, we know what you did, but we have time to, we want to use you. Nicolas Chaquette says, oh, sorry, Linus is not sure if I want Arthur more than Star. Yeah, man, I understand that. And I really like the style of it, of the chivalry and the knights and stuff. Nicholas says, that's the thing. What he's doing isn't ruining the game. I'm just worried he's going to escalate and I'll lose control on it. Well, that's what I mean, man. That's why I'm saying, why don't you have one of those priests come in and be like, look, there's always going to be, and actually have an NPC tell him, like, directly, there will always be consequences for your actions. You find yourself in a fortunate position. We are forgiving and we will look leniently on your actions if you agree to put your talents to better use. You have potential. You have something that we can, we can use to both of our benefits. That's what I do, because then, although it isn't sort of making positive on his actions, it's also directing what's happened into something, into focusing it. So he will think, then he'll be like, oh yeah, cool, I did this, and now because I'm badass, because I did that, I'm getting offers for work. When actually you are disguising your attempt to make something more of this petty, useless action, but sort of empowering him to think that, oh, what I've done is actually making an effect. Now, if he takes that the other way and starts like butchering people, then just have people hunt him down and kill him. Okay, he's a warlock. Have his patron abandon him. Have a bunch of zealots from that same religious order be like, you want to spill our blood and think you can get away with it, and have him attacked and beaten and like, or arrested and tried with execution. And maybe the word could get out that he's a murderer. Maybe people won't serve him in the tavern. Maybe people won't offer him work because they know that he's a loose cannon and a murderer. So there are good benefits to what he's done and there's bad benefits to what he's done. That would be what I'd do anyway. And if it persisted, I'd just stop and I'd be like, listen, mate, I'm all for you doing whatever you want in this game, but if you're going to ruin the fun of everyone else, then I'm afraid you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to take a break. Unless you think you can rein it in, that'd be great. But if not, then see no, I know he's your friend, or I know he's your friend, so it's difficult. It is difficult. I mean, when someone, I like to think that my friends that I run games with will, listen if I say, do you mind not? So if he's a reasonable person, then I'm sure like he'll understand if you have to take it beyond like trying to find a solution in game. If you have to take it to the point where you're finding a solution out of the game, then yeah. Let's see. I think I've been running for quite some time, and you know what? There isn't like a massive amount of heat buildup on the side of the laptop. I think I'm okay. I think I am. Let me see. I'm just going to bring up the YouTube page one more time. I don't know why I closed it, to be honest with you. But never mind. Just copy the link. And see how long I've been going for. Then I'll talk to you guys for a little bit more, and then I'll call it a day, I think. So how long have I been going? Oh, like nearly 50 minutes, I think. Yeah, you know what? I think I'll call it. I've made it to. Oh, do I wait to the hour? What do you say, chat? Do I wait to the hour? If I wait to the hour, you've got to give me something to talk about. Or something you'd like me to give input on, or whatever. Lionel says, woohoo. Nicholas says, thanks for the advice. Dude, more than happy to offer help if I can. I mean, I'm not saying it'll work, but I'm just saying what I'd do. Lionel says, I'd call it. Yeah, I don't know. I just it was around 50 minutes that I crashed during Vampire. Yeah. So I'll give it a tiny bit more, and then I'll stop. Lionel says, what are you running tonight? So I'm running Lawkeepers tonight. And that's the game that got cancelled because of technical issues, and we were running on a very short time frame as well. So had to nip that in the bud and had to reschedule, and it was really upsetting because I was really excited about the session. But we're running it tonight. Just hopefully there isn't like an issue with it. But we shall see. Nearly an hour, and it's not the laptop isn't overheating. Jay Anderson, hello, says, when's the next Saga game? So the next Saga game, I am pretty confident is this Tuesday coming up. For those of you that don't know, Saga is the game that Lloyd runs on his channel, YardDM. It's set in his setting, Iskloft, and I'm sure most people watching already know what that is by now. Great game, great setting, some really good stuff happening in Iskloft at the moment. Some horrifying stuff happening in Iskloft as well, but that's the nature of it, I suppose. But yeah, next Tuesday, usually it's around about midnight my time, midnight GMT. So around 6-7 EDT. Linus says 5 out of 10. I don't know what you mean by 5 out of 10. What's 5 out of 10? Locris, hey man. Locris says, Rob, my man, I just logged in on to test my audio. Do you want to jump on the stream, Locris? Do you want to jump on? Because I'm testing OBS. I'll give you the hangout link if you want to. If not, don't worry about it. If you've got stuff to do, I know you're a busy man. Jay Anderson says, cool. Nicholas Chaquette says, yeah, waiting for the next opportunity to play on another Iskloft one shot. Yeah. Well, I am going to run it. So if you want to be in it, that's cool, man. We'll do it. I'll run an Iskloft one shot for you. No problem. Gamer Status here, hey, says, oh, is there Lawkeepers in the works? So yeah, Lawkeepers is actually tonight. I realize I haven't posted it in the group though. Lawkeepers is tonight. 11 GMT. So that's 6 EDT. 6 Eastern, which should be pretty cool. I'm very excited about it because we had to play it and then stop. Oh, that's the date of Saga. I thought you were like rating me or rating something 5 out of 10. And I was like, wow, Lionel's difficult to please. Yes, it is the 10th, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, it's the 10th. And before that, on Monday, it's Against the Shadow on the 9th, where Lloyd is running some Middle Earth, and we are attempting to take the fortress known as Gundabad. We have taken the Dragon Gate. We have lost a lot of people. A lot of people have died, but a lot of us are still alive, even if I got my throat cut open almost immediately in a fight. Critical table, man. Yeah, so there's so Lawkeepers tonight. Nothing Sunday because I'm doing a performance. I got asked to do some performing, so I'll be doing that, which is a shame because I was going to be in a Fantastic Dimensions game in Christensen, which is gutting because I've never played a game that he's run, and I had to flake. I know he doesn't like flaking. Well, no one likes flaking, but he's not called the Iron Tyrant for no reason. So I was like, oh man, I've got to flake on. Like that's the worst. That is the absolute worst. But he was thankfully very understanding. So we will be playing some Cthulhu with Ian. Hopefully, early May is what we're aiming for, I think. So yeah. Oh, Locris wants to come in. Okay. I will copy the link and I'll send it to Locrius. Let's see. I have to put headphones in. So I guess we can use this to test Locrius's audio as well. Where is Locrius? There he is. I'll put headphones in. Locrius, excellent. What a nice surprise. Get to hang out with Locrius for a bit. Jay Anderson says, oh yeah, one more. When are you running the next Star Wars Knights of the Remnants game? Knights of the Remnant game. So that is definitely coming soon. We have filled in details, and it is basically my fault for it being delayed because other stuff's been happening in my life, and it got there was a point in my life where it got really difficult to start scheduling things around with my work and with other commitments to games and stuff. But it will be very soon. I can assure you of that. I'm excited about that. Is that Locrius?
Can you hear me?
Oh, Locrius, you sound like the birds in the morning.
The birds in the morning.
I was like,
Caw-caw!
Hello.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
You're crisp, man.
So, it's not shitty. It sounds good now.
It's perfect. It's
awesome.
It's amazing. Okay. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm kind of tired, but other than that, things are going good.
Things are good, man. I'm very excited about running tonight.
I'm excited too, man. I'm very excited. I have to, I can only unfortunately talk for just a second. I got to split in a minute.
No, dude, man. It's all good. No worries. It's all good.
My girlfriend has a photo gig. She's a photographer, and I am her roadie. So I got to go over load some gear and then pop back home and play some Lawkeepers. I'm excited, man. It's going to be awesome.
I'm very excited too. All right, man. Well, I won't keep you, but it was good to hear from you anyway.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. So it's not doing like last time. I know it was doing a crackly thing. It's not doing it at all. We're good.
Nothing. It's absolutely perfect, man. And through the changes that I've made to my setup, I've been running this with OBS. I realized it was OBS that has been fucking the game, Locrius.
Oh shit.
So
okay.
yeah. So I've been able to make some changes, and so far, I've been running this for about an hour to test it.
Nice.
And it seems fine. So hopefully I'm going to risk it tonight and see if it works.
Awesome, man. Well, I have high hopes. I'm sure they'll be okay. And if not, we'll fucking reschedule.
Let's do it again and again. Cool, man. All right. Well, it's good talking to you, man. Thanks
for having me on. I'm sorry to chat for just a second.
No worries, man. I'll see you soon. All right. Take it easy, man. See you later.
All right. Later, my brother. Bye-bye.
See you later, man. That was a lovely surprise. A bit of Locrius plan aside. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, Knights of the Remnant coming soon. Game of Theatre says done. Timing's gonna have to catch the full stream after live. I'll drop in if I can for a bit. Oh, the Lawkeepers, yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, we just basically thankfully managed to get it so we didn't have to wait too long, just 2 weeks. But you know, I thought I want to make sure that it's definitely going to happen then before I post anything. That the lock keepers is happening tonight. So as soon as this is done, I'm gonna post to say lock keepers tonight. Let's do it. T the Right is here. Hey T man, how you doing? He said, hey guys, what are you talking about? T, literally not much. Like I'm literally live testing my settings to see if my streaming OBS is working and not crashing my computer. Lately, my live streams are being crashed by OBS. So far, I've gone an hour and it's still working. So fingers crossed that it's going to be okay for tonight. But good to see you, man. Yeah, Linus is still running strong. Jay Anderson said, dude, your first one went off so good. It was like watching a damn movie. It was so smooth. Oh, Knights of the Remnant. I won't lie. I am very proud of that first session. That first session went incredibly well. But I mean, I basically set the pace. It was my players that filled in the gaps with all of their awesome stuff that they were doing. So absolutely joint effort. But I very much appreciate the positive words, man. I'm looking forward to running the second one as well. Oh, Gamer Status said the Locus was clear for streaming as on the stream as well. Perfect. Locus says, isn't that the guy that usually sits under a black light with giant sunglasses? Yeah, that's Locus, man. Locus is probably one of the best players, if not the best player that I've had the pleasure to run a game for. He is phenomenal. He's also very talented at drawing and music and everything else, which isn't annoying. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, look, I've been running for a little bit and it seems to be going fine, and I should really not ramble and try and save some of my voice for later on. So I'm going to go, but thank you ever so much for those of you that hung out with me whilst I ramble mindlessly. This stream isn't going to, like, I'm going to get rid of it, so it isn't on the on my list of videos, because like I don't really feel like we talked a little bit about some stuff, but it's probably not worth keeping around for all the rambling that I did. But thank you ever so much for keeping me company. Thank you very much. That means an awful lot, and hopefully it'll work out okay. I'll let you all know you're definitely here. I promise you're here. If it crashes tonight, you will hear my screams of fury from any part of the world that you live in, and they will call it the event, the seismic scream, and people will quail with fear at the very memory of such an event. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate your company, and I hope that all of your performances are up to standard.